Before the main channel went down, I reported on a few examples of our lovely public education teachers unions not only taking full advantage of the lockdowns, but also trashing the parents of students in California. They were caught live on Skype. Both of those videos once again exposed overall that we have a situation of the dumb being taught by the woke, lazy, and fully indoctrinated dumb. My main goal over the years when reporting on public schools in general has always been to point out the lack of accountability baked into the massive, countrywide system that we send our innocent and very vulnerable children off to. Also, of course, the radical social shaping of our children that's been taking place for years, if not decades now. Let's take a quick commercial break to pay some bills, and folks, please keep in mind I have links in the description box to Hero Soap, an excellent veteran-owned and operated company. We also have USCCA and PayPal. Any and all support over the next couple of months as we rebuild this channel would be greatly appreciated. After that winter wake-up call and the breakdown of the power grid, nobody can deny we're all quite vulnerable. We saw power grid failures, and severe weather made the food supply chain come to a grinding halt in many parts of the country. And whenever that happens, people suffer. That's why it's smart and fairly easy these days to prepare in advance for those disasters by stocking up on long-term storage emergency food. Food that stays fresh for up to 25 years, so you never go hungry. I strongly recommend my Patriot Supply, America's leader in self-reliance. They're the only source I use for emergency food planning. And now you can save $50 off a 4-week supply of delicious meals that give you 2,000 plus calories a day. That's what you'll need to survive the next disaster, and saving $50 is impossible to pass up, but supplies are limited, so go to preparewithresurgence.com and stock up now. That's preparedwithresurgence.com. Or hit that link in the description box and enjoy the peace of mind that comes with being prepared today. The system, though there are some exceptions in every state and city, is failing pretty much at every level, and nowhere is that made clearer than in these big, heavily democratic cities where teachers' unions have spread their corrupt tentacles into basically all aspects of local and statewide government. They've eliminated any and all forms of responsibility or accountability, while they demand huge increases of taxpayer dollars into the system using the very children they send off into a poverty-stricken life, failing them year in and year out, using those very same kids as innocent little nuggets of leverage, knowing politicians on both sides of the aisle are powerless against the narrative of poor minority children and the thought of them not receiving an excellent education. So as we watch these same teachers' unions refuse to open up and bring the non-COVID spreading children back into the classrooms, their primary place of social interactions, and so much more, causing all kinds of long-term and short-term harm, this, my friends, is why they get away with it. They own the local and state politicians. They quite literally have them by the short hairs, if you get my drift. Now let's move on to the story of the day. This is non-COVID related, but yet another fascinating story of a failing education system and yet another failing Democrat-run city, notorious for violence and poverty, drugs, and general lawlessness. This, of course, is Baltimore, Maryland. Now, as we work our way through this tale of woe is me, please notice the character not being blamed for anything in the situation. Okay, this is from PJ Media. If this story about a Baltimore teen whose mother thought he would graduate this June, only to learn he would have to repeat all 4 years of high school, doesn't make you a school choice advocate, nothing will. When President Trump spoke at Mount Rushmore, he said that school choice is the civil rights issue of our time. Yet the Biden administration will seek to limit those programs while whining about systemic racism or something. Biden will refuse to address the oppressive system that ties millions of black and brown children to failed public schools based on their zip code. So despite only passing 3 classes in his 4 years of high school, Tiffany Francis's son has a class ranking of 62 out of 120 as a senior. This means that 58 students at Augusta Fales Savage School for the Visual Arts in Baltimore have a GPA of 0.13 or less. School personnel did not inform the mother that her son would need to repeat all 4 years of high school until this February. His transcript showed that the only classes he passed were English 1, Health Education, and Fundamentals of Art as a 9th grader. He is now 17 years old. When you take a look at the high school transcripts, health education is the only grade he got higher than a D. His mother is correct when she says the high school definitely failed him. They continue to pass him through these grade levels. He failed Algebra 1 and Spanish 1, but advanced to the next level courses for both subjects. France, the mother, reported that only one teacher contacted her in the nearly 4-year period to request a conference. That meeting never actually happened. It's evident that his formative school years did not prepare him to be successful when he entered high school. Now, France has 3 children and works 3 jobs to support her family. She said she assumed that if her son was being placed in new classes for the new school year, he had the knowledge or skill he needed to move on. Now, his transcripts also showed that he had been late or absent 272 times during the first 3 years, and no one told France her son was failing or about his truancy. She said he never received extra help or any mentorship. An administrator for the Baltimore City School District who requested to remain anonymous told Fox 45 that the school staff failed to follow established protocols and interventions utilized when a child falls behind or has other issues. He said, quote, "I get angry. There's nothing but frustration. We see on the news the crime that occurs, the murders, the shootings. We know there are high levels of poverty in Baltimore. Things like this are adding to that." Dr. Sanja Santelises has served as the CEO of Baltimore City Public Schools since May 2016. Now, her biography sounds oh so impressive, and she appears to be a champion of low-income students. She even lectured for 2 years at Harvard on urban education. Her results tell a different story, this according to Fox 45. Project Baltimore pulled the data from Augusta Fales, that's the school the boy went to. Quote, "We found many students are struggling. The school's attendance rate is 61%. That's 27 points below the district average. Of the 434 students enrolled in 2019, 2 tested proficient in math and 2 in English. Yet 48%, nearly half of the students managed to graduate in 4 years. That's amazing. All of this in a school that gets $5.3 million a year from taxpayers. No one from the district office would go on the record with Fox 45, choosing to release a statement instead. They claimed the school had done home visits and that France, the mother, had met with school leadership. She, of course, asserts that neither ever happened. Her son will be going to a new program to complete the coursework required to get his diploma. If he works diligently, he could graduate by 2023. Now, there are calls to investigate and even shut down the school. But what about the middle school that didn't prepare France's son? Do we know if he was proficient in testing at any point in his school career? Well, of course, the district is unionized, and all the staff who didn't follow protocol will likely receive no discipline and will most certainly not get fired. In one of the wealthiest and most advanced countries in the world, this story is unconscionable. The average high school teacher's salary in Baltimore City is $62,000 a year. In 2019, this district ranked 3rd in highest per pupil spending in the nation. This is yet another perfect demonstration of why dumping more money into failed public schools that have no market incentives to improve will accomplish absolutely nothing. The other truly remarkable aspect of this story, not mentioned in this article or by the local news reporting firsthand, is the mind-blowing unaccountability that's taken place here by the mother. You see, I have 2 children, one in middle school and one in high school. I couldn't imagine going much over a week or 2 without knowing what their grades are. 4 years. 4 years. Give me a break. I get it, single mom, struggling through, trying to survive. But 4 years of not knowing anything about your son's academic situation, that's unacceptable. And frankly, it's reckless. Let me know your thoughts down below. Most of this came by way of PJ Media. If you liked it, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment down below. There's a PayPal link in the description box, so please put $1 in the bucket on the way out the door. I'd like to thank everybody for all your donations. They're much needed and much appreciated. Now, with all that being said, we'll see you next time.
Come on, move. Move. Easy, easy.